Good evening and welcome to the next episode of FieroCast. Tonight we look at the Fiero from an interior perspective and what it makes it so unique. Did you know that FieroCast has been awarded the Best Iconic American Car Brand Enthusiast Club 2023 in Illinois by Business Concepts? Business Concepts is an organization based in the United Kingdom, published quarterly, called The Business Concepts, and it brings its readership the most up-to-date insights and features of businesses with presence in digital media. The Automotive Awards is a program that recognizes and celebrates the achievements of the best and brightest in a specific industry, including not only manufacturing, suppliers, and dealers and service products for car enthusiasts. Over 40 episodes and more are coming. FieroCast has been a project that started back in 2020 for the Fiero community. Thank you to the Fiero community for your support and listening to FieroCast. It has been a pleasure producing each and every episode for you. I am your host, Mike Royer, and you are listening to the newest episode of FieroCast, the only podcast dedicated to the Pontiac Fiero in the Fiero community. You can find past FieroCast episodes at FieroFocus.com or on our Facebook page and YouTube. We'd like to thank our FieroCast supporters for this 2024 season: the Fiero Store, Rodney Dickman, Bontur Solutions, the Midwest Fiero Clubs, Golden Eye Graphic, the N.I.F.E Store, the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts, Auto Modella, and A1 Auto Transport. This episode tonight is brought to you by the Fiero Store and Bontur Solutions. We all know how hard it is to find Fiero parts. We also know that as the years go by, finding parts isn't getting any easier. The big box stores will never ever make any new Fiero parts because our community is small, our cars are old, and there's just no need for parts right now. So they say. But this is why we need to support the companies who support us. For over 30 years now, the Fiero Store has sponsored our club events, provided free technical support, and produced well over 150 exclusive parts that no big box store would ever consider. So, the next time you need parts, head over to FieroStore.com and browse through thousands of products that are specifically designed for our Fiero. That's FieroStore.com, the largest and world's largest source of Fiero parts. Are you looking for that special personalized Fiero gift for someone? Bontur Solutions can help you find that one-of-a-kind gift. Anything from t-shirts, sweatshirts, drinkware, signs, decorative items, holiday items, and so much more. They can design pretty much anything you want on them, from pictures of your car, your favorite sports team, a photo of your pet, or just a saying that you like to say all the time. The list is endless. Minimums are just one of each item, and the best thing is they do not charge a setup fee. You can catch Bontur Solutions at several Fiero and Pontiac events in the area, such as Fiorama, the Dells Run, any of the upcoming anniversary events of the Fiero, and the very popular and very busy Indian Uprising show in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Check out some of the newest items they have to offer the Fiero community, such as the brand new 4-piece luggage set that fits in your Fiero just like the original sets did. Custom tumblers, puzzles, and the very popular duffel bag. So head over to their website, bonturgifts.com, take a look around, and get your gift today. The tastes and interests of consumers change, which is why style changes constantly. Harley Errol, renowned director of GM's Arts and Color section, realized that style did sell. It sells fashion, it sells buildings, it sells appliances, and it sells cars. General Motors is known for its Motorama cars, which pushed the envelope and often resulted in General Motors producing some of the most forward-thinking and attractive exterior designs. That reputation continued well into GM's future. While GM produced some iconic designs in the 70s through the 2000s, GM is not celebrated for its interior designs during the 80s, though maybe even through the early 2000s. Pontiac is particular, decided on a module design theme for its product interiors during the 80s, and they resolutely adhered to that theme. The Fiero was no exception. When viewed as a whole, the Fiero is a mixture of design elements that included rectangular modularity as well as rounded corners, compound curves, and organic shapes. Just take a look at the exterior of the Fiero. With the exception of the sail panel inserts on the coupes, there is not a crease or sharp edge on the exterior design. Some may say that the headlight doors, or the C-pillar trim, or even the tail lights, or the bumpers are rectangular, but they are neither, or either not truly rectangular, having curved corners, as in this case of the taillights, or they are part of a large element that is more organic in form. Close examination of the exterior will reveal that not a single surface on the exterior is flat. The rectangular look of the bumper pads on the 84 through 86 cars are curved planes. Even the straight edges of the sail panel inserts are curved in at least one direction. For the most part, the Fiero body styles, both the notchback and to a greater extent the fastbacks, are very organically shaped. Now, let's take a look at the interior. Apparent are very ridged rectangular shapes, but with some rounded corners. But all the edges and surfaces that are right angles, the curved edges of the interior forms trend to soften the interior, but not really, only slightly increase the interior appeal of the current perspective. Despite the rectangular-like modularity of the dash and center console, the dash consists of gentler curves, and the doors feature a sweeping compound curve that are quite pleasing to the eye, which contradicts some of the door's features on the other interior forms. While the interior and exterior designs are not necessarily contradictory, there are in some conflict between the two. Where the exterior of the car is somewhat timeless in design, the interior significantly dates the car, which an interior would never appear in a current car or even a car from the 2000s. It is of value to go back and look at how the Fiero interior came to be. So, first and foremost, a car interior needs to meet certain functional requirements of which the aesthetic desire of the design must accommodate. Most car owners do not consider the complexity that occurs behind the surfaces of the interior of their vehicle. The interior must allow drivers of various sizes to fit comfortably, maintain vision through the windows and mirrors, reach all the pertinent controls necessary to operate the vehicle, and then exhibit the designer's inspiration of the vehicle. So behind those surfaces are gauges, controls, ventilation ducts, radio bodies, power window regulators, power mirror motors, and so much more. When comparing various Pontiac products from the mid-80s, Pontiac's module design theme is apparent. While the 1977 through 86 Pontiac Parsippany, I probably got that wrong, which was Pontiac's luxury offering, was intended to promote a feeling of niceness and with truffled pillow-topped velour seating, faux wood surfaces, and chrome accents. The Fiero was intended to be a precision instrument. Interestingly, while both of the exterior and interior of the Fiero was intended to protect a feeling of performance, they do so in different manners. The design of the Fiero interior began back in 1979 after the car's dimensions were mostly set. The first interior styling Buck utilized as many production parts from other GM vehicles as possible to reduce the cost. So the designers began with the J-Car seats, which was the Chevrolet Cavalier, and the Camaro instruments and switch gears. Initial design philosophy was for all the interior to be very utilized, incorporating a freestanding instrument pod flanked by fingertip switches that could be reached without the driver moving his hands from the steering wheel. There has to be a full-length module climate control duct extending across the entire dash. So the designers attempted to maximize interior space while accommodating the relatively tall center tunnel that houses the fuel tank. Like the interior design of the 1982 Camaro, which relatively was further along, and then the 1984 Corvette, which was also just beginning, the designers wanted to achieve an aircraft-style instrument panel. So, in doing so, the design team reviewed the instrument pod and hand controls of other manufacturers like France's Citation, or as well as the cockpit of the SST supersonic aircraft. All of this led to a design that allowed the owner to remove 4 screws and have access to the radio and ventilation controls, or on the back of the instrument pod, while providing a high-tech, no-nonsense appearance. By March of 1980, one fully developed, drivable prototype with a functioning interior had been constructed in order to achieve corporate approval. Once approval was granted, the program shifted out of the hands of the original design group to the production studio and into the hands of the chief of Pontiac Exteriors II, John Chanella, and the Pontiac Interior Studio ran by Patrick Furry. Chanella had been responsible for the Firebird Trans Am since 1973. The new team immediately faced significant challenges in that the cockpit needed to move forward and the windshield rake needed to be lowered to a fast 63 degrees, both of which improved the car's appearance, aerodynamics, and the weight distribution. So as development continued, the center console was redesigned to be less square, smaller, with soft rounded corners, along with the shift gear was also rounded to make it more organic with rocker type switches that mimicked aircraft switches, and the steering wheel received some attention as well. Scrapped in the process was the problematic Ferrari styled shift gate and the module air duct concept. The Camaro gauges were jettisoned for new electronic gauges designed specifically for the Fiero with white markings and red lighting, again, similar to aircraft instruments. The aircraft-inspired interior door handles, the radio, and the heater air conditioning units were already designed for the Camaro and Firebird and would be used in the Fiero to save money. It was at this point that a major change occurred relative to interior colors, which had consisted of all black interior with contrasting seat accents. In order to visually soften the interior and provide an impression of more space, black was rejected and replaced with light gray and saddle tan. Later on, switches were changed to gray to allow for their being more visible in low light without illumination or chrome surrounds. Then we switched to the seat design, which required considerable effort in that the Fiero seats would be the narrowest in the history of GM. Pontiac had adapted a design that the seats needed to be contoured. The design research seats by Recaro, among others, and worked with Lear Seliger and Fisher Body. It was at that point that the fleece seat was inserted and was proposed. If you look at earlier inner door panels, initially incorporated a pull strap, but then the team quickly decided that something more substantial was needed to accommodate the feel where they were working towards. The studios resulted in a combination armrest with an integral handle. So, in early 1981, Hulke Alcadari had a running prototype for chief engineer R.L. Dorn to drive. But Dorn stood 6 feet 6 inches. Didn't fit in the car. In response, the seat bottom was made thinner, moved as far back as possible, and the steering wheel offset was reduced. After 1981, the interior design was set and ready for production. The automotive writers were mostly positive relative to the interior. Jeffrey Zort, writing in Road and Track stated, "The cloth upholstery imparts a richness without trying to achieve a luxury appearance, but indicated that the tall side bolsters of the seat made entering the car a little difficult." Tony Asena, writing for Motor Trend, stated, "The cockpit environment is as pleasant as you could want, with faith in American styling, ability, and packaging efficiency. The styling could best be described as an Italian minimalist, technologically providing everything you need, with none of the gimmickry or an ounce of unnecessarily decoration. The gauge module is compact and really finished in muted brushed aluminum. The seats are excellent, well padded, well bolstered, and have enough rake adjustment to suit just about everyone but the tallest driver." The writers never lost their love for the Fiero interior. Writing in the November 1984 edition of Motor Trend, Ron Grable wrote, "The seating position is absolute best, with no qualifications. It's comfortable, legs slightly apart, good relationship between upper body and steering wheel, allowing the good shoulder torque, and the adjustment steering wheel can be positioned just right. The Fiero steering wheel was small thumb indentions on each of the horizontal spokes, which you'll never want to give up. Moving your right hand a cent 5 inches to the right of the wheel puts it squarely on the gear lever, and it's obviously designed by people who know how to drive." As you may know from viewing numerous Fiero interiors, there are a magnitude of options and variations. These options are variations and they reflect the model designation. Year to year, changes and production changes. Some of the changes are improvements and some have no apparent advantage, but may reflect a cost-cutting effort or parts supplier change. The Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts publication of the Enthusiast Guide to the Pontiac Fiero does a great job of cataloging the changes and options available in the 4 years of the Fiero production. The following is a rundown of some of these options and variations for the Fiero's interior. So if we highlight some of the 84 interior, the interior door choices included camel tan and light slate gray. However, the Indy Pace car replicas, based on the light slate gray, had seats with Sierra gray leather bolsters and a red Milliken cloth insert with laser depressed Indy 500 logos. The SE models came equipped with the Placid Placket cloth seats with contrasting insert of two-tone vertical stripes. An option on the SE with the camel tan interior was a fleece insert with suede leather bolsters that are rarely ordered. The Indy Pace cars also included the Sierra gray door leather armrests, the shift knob, and steering wheel. Two 13-inch rear stereo speakers were located in the headrest. The switchgear was black. The gauge shift plate bezel, where the Ramon bronze for the camel tan interior and the brushed pewter for the light gray interior, and the Indy cars had the brushed pewter bezels. This was the only year for an AM radio with clock. The voltmeter was located in the lower portion of the tack. The parking brake was a hand lever located along the left edge of the driver's seat. The black handle included with also a brown or gray boot for an orange release button. The dash was a single color for a coupe and sport coupe, but two-tone for the SE. The coupe and sport coupe were equipped with an elastic band map pocket embroidered with the Fiero logo on the dash in front of the passenger. The SE substituted a vinyl pocket with the logo, or without the logo. Vinyl door mounted map pockets came with vehicles equipped with power windows, and the map pocket would interfere with the manual window crank operations and therefore was not offered. The hobnail carpet was offered in all models. Optional NP5 steering wheel was leather wrapped, 3-spoke without thumb notches at spokes for coupe, sport coupe, and SE. The Indy Pace cars had 3-spoke steering wheel in Sierra gray leather with thumb notches and Indy Fiero logo on the horn butt. It also had the leather shift knob, but was also only available for the Indy pace cars. Extending the interior outward, the door sills were equipped with Fiero and Body by Fisher plastic molded graphic inserts in either gold or gray, depending on your interior color. Now we shift to the 85 interior. The 85 interior color choices included camel tan and, again, light slate gray. The SC and GT models came equipped with a two-tone Palex cloth seats. An option with the camel tan interior on the SC and GT was the fleece inserts with suede leather bolsters that was, again, rarely ordered. The switchgear was now gray. The gauge shift plate pencils were Roman bronze for the camel tan interior and onyx gray now for the light slate gray interior. The voltmeter was placed by the oil pressure gauge in the lower portion of the tach meter, and the dash was a single color for coupe and sport coupe and a two-tone for the SC and GTs. The vinyl door-mounted map pockets without the Fiero logo were standard now on the GTs as part of the standard power window package. The GT models and the three-spoke steering wheel with the Fiero GT logo on the horn button with the thumb notches was now in standard. Optional NP5 steering wheel with the leather wrapped, three-spoke without the thumb notches as at the spokes for the coupe, sport coupe, and SC. Color-coordinated coat hooks were added to the headliner behind the seat backs. The leather shift knob was standard for the GT and optional for the Sport Coupe and SC. The stereo backlighting changed from green to red except for the clock display area, and this was the first year for the touch control ETR cassette radio. Extending the interior outward again, the door sills were equipped with only Fiero graphic insert in the either gold or gray, depending on the interior color, versus the previous years of Body by Fisher inserts, which had changed to a plain black insert. So as you can see, between the 84 and 85, the slight changes. Now we're going to jump into the 86s, where again, the choices for interior color were now just camel and medium gray. 86 had a little bit more changes to highlight in that, which were the SE and GT seats were offered with Palex or optional suede with leather seating surfaces. The fleece was no longer an option, and the Palex seats had a horizontal vinyl band on the upper seat back and the Fiero logo embroidered into the cloth above the vinyl band, where the Palex seats had vinyl piping along the edges. So the coupe and sport coupes were now offered with the ripple cloth seats, and the headrest speakers were no longer available, where the rear speakers were moved to the rear sail panels. The new performance sound system, which was offered with a 5.25-inch subwoofer mounted in the two-port enclosure and with a separate power amp control switch in the overhead console. This option was available with air conditioning only. The gauge shift plate bezels were Roman bronze again for the camel interior and onyx gray for the medium gray interior. And this was the first year a 120 mile per hour speedometer was now standard on GT models. All V6 models received a auxiliary gauge cluster on top of the center console, which now contained the oil pressure gauge. The tachometer had no other gauges located within it. But the author recently talked with a GM engineer who, although not part of the Fiero team, was around the Fiero studio. This employee stated that no one involved with the Fiero design liked the placement of the auxiliary gauge cluster on top of the center console, but the location offered the most cost-efficient method of incorporating the gauges. The dash map pocket was now a side-load pocket with a vinyl and a silk-screened Fiero logo for the coupe and sport coupe. The SC and the GT models had a cloth pocket with an embroidered Fiero logo for Palex-equipped cars and a vinyl pocket with a silkscreen logo for suede and leather-equipped cars. The Palex cloth door-mounted map pockets with the embroidered Fiero logo was now standard on the SC and GTs. However, if the seats were suede and leather, the map pocket remained vinyl without the logo. The steering wheels were available on the coupe, sport coupe, and SE included the four-spoke wheels now, neither in plastic N36 or leather-wrapped NP4. The door sills no longer had the Fiero graphic, and the government-mandated high center brake light, which included at the top center rear of the window. Then, when moving into 87, The only real change was the 120 mile per hour speedometer was now used in all SEs with the V6 option. Then in 88, the interior color choices included now, instead of the camel, the medium beechwood and along with the medium gray. The GT seats were now metric cloth without embroidered logos, and available inflatable lumbar support was now offered on the cloth seats only. And GT offered optional Ventura leather. All models were now offered with the new dot matrix gauge shift plate bezels, and the dash was now a single color for the formula. The dash mat pocket on all models was now a vinyl with silkscreen Fiero logo. So the one aspect of the Fiero interior of which you can be confident is that almost any combination of these standard and optional features could be in your car. The original owner of a 1985 Sport Coupe, which is equipped with a camel tan interior, Pollux cloth, and leather-wrapped formula steering wheel in brown leather with an embossed logo on the horn button and the matching brown leather shift knob. While some of the switchgear is shared with other GM products, and particularly Pontiac products, some was first used in the Fiero, and some appeared on other products before appearing in the Fiero. The one piece of equipment that is definitely from the corporate parts bin is the turn signal stalk. This hollow black plastic stalk is the one piece that does not seem to match the quality of the rest of the Fiero interior. There have been numerous articles in Fiero Focus discussing various aspects of the Fiero interior, but the shortcoming in repairs, however, the most other aspects of the Fiero, the interior was constructed of durable components that are standing the test of time, even if that design appears to be dated. All right. Thank you for listening tonight as we talk the Fiero interior. This podcast was written by Christopher Sass, produced by GoldenEye Graphic, published through FieroFocus.com, and is a production of the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am your host, Mike Cryer, and thank you for listening to the award-winning and newest episode of FieroCast. This is episode 45, and it is the only podcast dedicated to the Pontiac Fiero and the Fiero community. If you'd like more information or have ideas on future FieroCasts, you can email me at mkroyer@fierofocus.com. Remember to keep Fieroing, and good night, Fiero owners, wherever you are.